Let's revisit the Medita Compact. It could be perfect for this use case. I've been all morning working at home in my study, and frankly, I was feeling a little bit of that overwhelm where my digital space felt cluttered. And I just thought, I'll get out and I'll film this video outside. And I was reasonably negative about the Medita Compact in my first content on it. The device is nicely designed. It's the right size for an alternative smartphone. It's designed to be that minimal alternative. And I said, and I think I'm right in this, that it's a good choice for people who aren't actually looking to get rid of their existing smartphone. It's a good choice for the people who actually really like their iPhone or their Android phone and they want to keep that. But if they come, for instance, on a day like this and a walk in the woods to enjoy the late spring, all the flowers are out, and they don't want in their pocket that attention-hungry beast that they know is just going to take them away from enjoying their surroundings. But, I said, and quite rightly again, I think, the problem is you can't have an app like WhatsApp, for instance. You can't have your choice of messenger app on the Medita. But I was a bit told off by a lot of commenters who said, no, actually, you can sideload apps if you like. You can sideload WhatsApp, for instance. And I have been successful in doing that. But it isn't officially supported, and that's worth not forgetting. I am a good user of tech, and it took me a couple of goes to actually figure out how to put the APK on here and get it installed. Not that it wasn't possible, not that it wasn't quite straightforward, but I think if there had been a hitch in that tutorial somewhere, then I think I'd have struggled to get it sorted. You have to install your APKs by ADB, which is just an installer, but it's accessed by the command line in Windows or in Mac. And that is gonna scare off the people who are looking to buy this thing for a purely mindful experience. And incidentally, if you sideload the Aurora store first and or F-Droid, which is another great repository for apps, then you won't have to actually use ADB to download new apps every single time. So I used Web ADB, which was pretty easy to use. And once you'd put your Medita into developer mode, so the way you do that is you press the build number 7 times, and then you'll see the options for developer mode. And then you can do USB debugging. And then once you've plugged it in via USB cable to your computer, you can go to Web ADB. You should then see the Medita as an option to connect to. Connect to that, find your APK file and install it. And that worked just perfectly fine for the Aurora store. It froze up in F-Droid for some reason, so I haven't actually got that one working. But this is all just too much for what the phone is purporting to be. My suggestion for Medita would be that they sort of give you a bit of a hint when you first set up the phone. Just say to their users, would you like us to help you install a third-party messaging service? Because that is generally going to be the thing that most people are going to miss on a minimal phone, is not having access to communicating with their friends and family like they normally would. So I would kind of prefer to look at this and review this from the standpoint that you just get what's on it. But I do have WhatsApp on it, and that does mean that now it ticks that box that I had complained about, that the people who are looking for this are looking to do what I'm doing right now, which is my big smartphone is in the car. It's there ready to run Android Auto on the way home, for instance. But this is my mindful walking around here that I'm not really intending to pull out of my pocket. And that if I do, I'm probably looking to read a bit or maybe snap a quick photo just for memory's sake. But I'm not looking for anything notifying me, any kind of feed. I'm not looking to scroll. I'm not looking to check my analytics, for instance, which is my big weakness in terms of my smartphone addiction. But I am still connected and I can be reached by phone from my wife or any important person who's got this, my second number. And I'm still connected by WhatsApp to any and everyone who I actually want to communicate with by text. And what's more, I have been able to sideload OneNote on here and sign in with my Microsoft account so that I have my notes, the things that I want to tell you about the Medita Compact. And so my recommendation to you to go with a minimal phone, which you can actually customize to your own conception of minimalism, that actually now does stand for the Medita. It's just going to take you a little bit of technical ability to get it set up. And that would certainly put off somebody like my wife, for whom otherwise this really attractive small e-ink smartphone would be a really great alternative for her to take with her when she didn't want her iPhone with her. And as long as there's somebody like me for her who could set this up and install the apps that she needed on here, then I think she'd be okay with this, and I think she'd have a really good time. It would retain that simplicity, that mindfulness, whilst having her essentials on it. It is, on this walk at this moment, it's my silent companion. It's something that when I turn to it, I'm just going to see the books that I've chosen to load onto it. Shakespeare's sonnets, the Aeneid, Dante. I'm not going to be tempted to go down any other rabbit holes, ask random questions to ChatGPT, or check any news feeds. I am, whilst I'm here at least, enjoying this outside space, disconnected from that digital world. But in an emergency, I can still be contacted. Or if I was somewhere more extreme, I could still contact someone else for help. The fingerprint reader is very welcome indeed. Although I'm not signed into much on here, much that I'd need to worry about my security with. They have already updated it at least once, which has enabled, luckily, swipe-free apps, which I kept swiping and realizing that you have to press these buttons before. So they are actually improving things. And should you entirely not want to be contacted at all, it has a dedicated switch to turn off all networks. Any connectivity at all is now totally off on the Medita Compact. It's got a lovely soft back, which feels nice even without a case. And it does have both a SIM card and a SD card slot here, so you can expand the storage should you need to put a lot of books or podcasts on the thing. This is some preloaded music. I haven't actually used it yet. But for some of the things that we're totally used to using our smartphone for instance, being an MP3 player, a podcast player, then you can still do that here. I'm afraid to say though, for me, that's kind of where the good news ends, because it's just not a great e-reader. And that's the thing which is essential for me in a minimalist phone. I'm looking for something which can be my phone, do all the essentials that I need, but then when I sit myself down to read, it's just a great reading experience. Now, I'm not sure exactly which panel they've put on here, whether this is an official e-ink panel or one of the few rivals that are out there, but it certainly is low resolution. And you can really see that every single time you start reading. Here's Dante. And it's just too small even to fit one line across. And this text is, for me, even a little bit smaller than I'm really truly comfortable with. And the options I have are this text, which is way too big, or this text, which is absolutely ridiculous. I can't think of anyone apart from those with eyesight problems who would like to read on here. And if that was the case, I certainly wouldn't be recommending something that shows up so much ghosting on there. There are no e-ink modes for you to get the best and for you to tailor that experience. There's no button that you can press that would do a one-click refresh of the whole thing. And when it's darker, you only have one color, the cold front light on there. Not great. And you can see that is way lower contrast. That's much harder to read than any modern e-reader would be. That's what they need to sort out for the next generation. We haven't even got contents settings here, let alone the ability to highlight or make notes. It's just really simple page turn. If I lose my place in here or want to go back to somewhere, then I'm lost. Can I bookmark even? No. I could see myself maybe reading a sonnet or two on this thing though. And the meditation cards are really good. I didn't realize I had a weather app, but I'm not in Poland, so let's see if I can set it to my own location. There we go. I'm not sure off the top of my head how much this actually costs because, well, I could look that up on the internet obviously, but I actually haven't put a browser on here yet. And the Maps app that's on there by default, well, I'm in a situation where I might actually want to use that, and I've clicked into the map and I'm met with a notification saying, we're missing this region map, can you download that? And when I go download, it can't download because I'm in Wi-Fi. So we've got to think of the user that this is intended for, that person who wants to leave the house without their main smartphone, but safe in the knowledge that they've got the essentials in their pocket. If they get into those situations, they're going to be frustrated, distressed, and then just not use this phone at all. It told me to turn off Wi-Fi only mode. I can't even find that option in the settings just now. Aha! Maybe I'll know where I am in 28 minutes at least. And look, there's definitely a point to this. There really is. I'm sure there's a market to this. I see the use case of this. But in the next one, they just need to get that e-ink screen right. And right now they can improve it by giving us proper e-ink center modes so we can have higher contrast, because I'm certain this screen can perform better than it currently does. It seems to be set permanently in some kind of fast mode, and that gives you that lower contrast. So it needs to at least change automatically when it goes into the reader. And things like the on-screen keyboard is just frustrating, especially when you're in one of those side-loaded apps. And often you can't see the box that you're trying to type into because the on-screen keyboard is actually covering over that. So yes, you can sideload apps, but expect the experience to be much less than perfect. And ladies and gentlemen, digital minimalism is important, or at least being intentional about the tech we use, when we use it, and why we're using it is massively important for us, just for our well-being going forward as a human race. And the Medita Compact is giving you an option to be more mindful by buying a new device. But I would encourage you to think about what you already have and how you're using it first, before spending a lot of money on a new device. If the tips on here, the mindfulness, the breathing exercises, and the bits of reading, if they help you, if they're something you want, then you can get them without buying a device from Medita. You can just buy them as cards. And I might recommend that to you as a better start point if you want to improve the way you use your connected devices. I am the target audience for this phone. I see a need for better use of digital devices in my life. But I might think that reading more on any device or on paper might be a better start point than spending a lot of money on a brand new thing. We've got it though, we've got a location. Yes, that is where I am. No, that's where I am. I don't know what that other dot was meaning. So just remember to download the area that you're going to be walking in if you're going to be relying on this thing for local maps.